Hey, good morning. It's Bill Radke in for Patricia Murphy. It's Wednesday, and this is Seattle Now. Jeff Bezos wants a workforce that is competitive. Keep the stars, lose the duds.
There are people, everybody in this room knows people who fall into these two camps. You're in a meeting, and the person comes in the room. Some people come into the meeting, and they add energy to the meeting. Other people come into the meeting, and the whole meeting just deflates. And you have to decide which of those kinds of people you're going to be.
How does Amazon sort and rank its workers? We're going to hear from Seattle Times reporter Catherine Ann Long in a minute. First, let's get you caught up. Nice cooling marine layer we just had. Next up, searing heat. The Weather Service says we could approach 90 on Friday, maybe 100 on Saturday and Sunday. Nighttime will help a little bit, but it'll still be around 70 then. So when the sun's up, block it. Protect yourself. Check up on relatives and neighbors and chug the water. As a high school coach used to say, hydrate until you urinate. Just an idea. In other news, the University of Washington says it is stunned by claims of racism and harassment in its campus police department. The New York Times reports that 5 rank-and-file black UWPD officers filed legal claims this week, alleging that racial slurs and open hostility created an unbearable workplace. They're seeking $8 million in damages. The officers alleged that supervisors were aware of the behavior, even part of it. A UW spokesperson tells the Times that this is the first that school administrators have heard of the officers' claims. And after a season playing to empty seats, the Seahawks are getting the 12s back. The team announced yesterday they've been cleared by the NFL and local health officials to bring fans back to Lumen Field next season. Vaccinations not required, but if you're not vaxxed, you do have to wear a mask. No word yet on whether fans will be allowed at next month's training camps. We already knew that Amazon is a competitive workplace, but internal documents obtained by the Seattle Times reveal how competitive. Instead of employee success just being measured based on the goals that they've met, Amazon employees are measured against one another. This is commonly called stack ranking, although Amazon disputes that term. This management style is so controversial that Microsoft quit using it years ago. So why does Amazon purposely force some of its corporate workers out of the company? Seattle Times business and Amazon reporter Catherine Ann Long just wrote about this. Catherine, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Bill. I'm so happy to be here.
Will you remind us, what is stack ranking?
Well, in my mind, the crucial element of stack ranking is when a company decides that it wants to pressure out a certain number or percentage of low-ranked employees every year. So in Amazon's case, the company divides its office employees into 5 bands. 20% of folks ranked at the very top of the company and 5% ranked at the very bottom. And those are the folks that Amazon calls least effective employees. Now, every year, Amazon tries to force out roughly 6% of its corporate workforce company-wide. Those are the people who are ranked at the very bottom of Amazon's distribution system.
Any theories of why Amazon doesn't call it stack ranking if it's at least pretty darn close?
You know, this is speculation on my part, but I think that stack ranking has a fairly negative reputation. Other companies, as you alluded to, have abandoned the practice. A lot of employees say that stack ranking creates a toxic workplace culture with employees backstabbing each other to make sure that they're not ranked at the very bottom. Managers who are always worried about who they might need to fire. That can stifle innovation. And some people have even said that it can lead to pay inequities and employment discrimination.
I remember all of those complaints with Microsoft, and there have been others, Uber and Goldman Sachs. So why do you think Amazon continues to manage people in this way?
Amazon is very intent on ensuring that its employees' competency is continually improving. As part of a philosophy that Jeff Bezos introduced in the company in its very early days, Amazon wants to continually hire and develop the best. That's one of the company's 14 leadership principles. The way it does that is in Amazon speak by continually, quote unquote, raising the bar on employee performance, making sure that its employees' qualifications are always improving, that employees' performance is never stagnating. Amazon is really intent on making sure that its workforce is constantly innovating, is always trying to come up with new ideas. And in the words of Jeff Bezos, once that stops happening, your company is basically dead.
Well, you described some of the opinions about stack ranking as leading to a bunch of backstabbing and actually stifling innovation. So, but is it Amazon's? Should we conclude that Amazon's experience is that overall, something like stack ranking, it works?
Yeah, I think that Amazon's opinion is that this system does work for the company, and some senior managers that I spoke to do support the system of stack ranking. They think that it does help to improve employees' performance at Amazon. It makes sure that employees are not getting lazy, that they're not resting on their laurels. That's a sentiment that I heard over and over again in my interviews, even from people who say that they disliked some elements of the system. They supported it in general terms as trying to boost the overall level of performance among Amazon's office workforce.
But you also talk to Amazon corporate employees who can't stand this kind of performance system that forces out a certain percentage of people.
That's right. Sentiment at Amazon is really divided over the company's talent review process. Some managers said that having to pick one or two of their subordinates every year to put on performance improvement plans or pressure out of the company was really emotionally wrenching for them. One manager told me it felt like having to Sophie's Choice her employees, picking one of them to let go to save the rest. I know a lot of people have left the company because of dissatisfaction with Amazon's performance review system.
So, Catherine, if you are an Amazon employee and you are found to be underperforming, at least compared to your peers, what happens to you?
The first thing that happens to you is that your manager sits you down, hopefully, and tells you that you are being put on a performance improvement plan. I've spoken with plenty of Amazon employees, though, who said that they were put on a performance improvement plan and their manager never told them about it. Once you're on a performance improvement plan, which Amazon calls focus, your manager describes some goals that they would like you to meet. You have weekly one-on-one sessions with your manager. You discuss your progress towards those goals. And at the end of a month or two, you and your manager and your manager's manager decide whether or not you've met those goals. If you haven't, then you are given the option to leave the company with a severance package or try once again to improve. I know that a lot of people who have this choice placed before them decide to leave the company. For those who try to improve and fail, they are asked to resign. Their severance is lowered. If they try to improve, fail, and appeal that decision, their severance is lowered once again. The incentives are aligned for employees to leave the company sooner rather than later.
Some of this reminds me of the New York Times finding that you're reporting that Jeff Bezos finds people, including his warehouse workers, inherently lazy. Do you see any connections between those things?
Yeah, I do. I really do. I think that what we've seen from previous reporting is that one of Jeff Bezos's early obsessions when he was founding the company was that his employees would not rest on their laurels, that his employees would continually be trying to improve, to innovate, not to get lazy, as you put it. I think that's something that's baked into Amazon's talent management system for corporate employees.
A lot of people in the Seattle area do work at Amazon, but more of us don't work at Amazon. Why does that company's, and you cover this company, why does Amazon's workplace practices matter so much to everyone else?
Even though Amazon doesn't employ most of the corporate workforce in the Seattle area, it's certainly an industry leader. A lot of companies look to Amazon when they decide how to determine their employment practices. A lot of companies compete with Amazon for hiring. We know that when Amazon makes an announcement about its workplace policies, other companies, even large companies that are establishing a presence in the Seattle area, like Facebook, Google, they're able to recruit employees based off of those decisions and announcements. Amazon's workplace policies really do influence a lot of other employers' decisions in this area.
So if Amazon's practices are so influential, do you think reporting like yours, that Amazon essentially uses stack ranking, grading on a curve, do you think that will lead more companies to follow their lead?
I think quite the opposite, actually. I think we could see other employers describing ways in which their performance management system is different than Amazon's. I think that could be a selling point for a lot of employees, especially employees who find that they may not be a good culture fit at Amazon and are looking to make a change.
Call it grading on a curve, call it unregretted attrition, call it stack ranking. Amazon does not call it that. We've been talking about the performance management style at Amazon with the Amazon and business reporter at the Seattle Times, Catherine Ann Long. Good to talk with you about it, Catherine. Thanks.
Thanks so much for having me, Bill. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Seattle Now. If you liked this show, please tell a buddy about us or leave us a review. Caroline Chamberlain Gomez produced today's show. Our production team is Claire McGrain, Diana Opong, and Jason Pagano. Matt Jorgensen does our theme music. I'm Bill Radke. See you tomorrow.